Okay, take number 3. July 14th, 2:53 a.m. Turns out I didn't have enough memory left on my iPhone, so I had to delete a bunch of stuff. Anyway, didn't get any work done on the game today. I was doing more promotional work. TikTok video that did well is now reached 80,000 views and still might climb a little bit more, so that's pretty cool. I'm at 960 followers. I've probably gotten a lot of wish lists from it as well. However, I have decided not to check the wish list count for my game until the end of the summer, the end of August, because I would like to wean myself off of checking those stats and numbers all the time. It's very addictive, and most of the time it's pointless. It's better to look at it in aggregate every once in a while, right, to see how my methods are working out. So I'm just going to work on the promotional stuff, see how it goes, and try to not look at everything so frequently. Especially with TikTok, like the past couple of days with all the messages and stuff coming in all the time, it's so hard to resist looking at it all the time. But it's addictive, and I gotta get off of that. Need to fix my routine. Like I said, you're gonna hear me say that a million times in these videos. It's 2:54 a.m. Did I say that? 2:54 a.m. July 14th. Up late again, but tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow I am going to get back to work again on the game, and I'm going to look at some optimization stuff. So the game is decently optimized. The biggest performance issue by far that I initially dealt with was Unity's 2D lighting system. That seemed to be what my laptop struggled with. So I added a bunch of graphics options that lets you lower that, and that seemed to improve things a lot. However, I've been getting not a lot, but I got a few messages here and there from people who said that the game was practically unplayable for them. It was incredibly laggy, and that's confusing to me because they sent me their specs and they are right on the edge of what would be supportable, but it's still kind of weird. Like, one of them was running on Linux and his specs were similar to my worst case scenario laptop that I use for testing to test the performance of my game. So this is an Acer like Nitro 5 or something. It's like, I think it's like a good 5, 6, 7 years old now. 2019, I want to say. So anyway, it runs decently enough on my laptop. I noticed that I can run Rocket League perfectly on the highest settings on that laptop. So I feel like it should definitely be able to handle my game. It kind of sucks that that laptop actually does struggle in certain situations a little bit, specifically just on the last level of the demo. So it does seem like there's a bit much going on there. But like I said, at least on my laptop, it was definitely the lighting system. I don't know on these other computers these people are sending me. I want to guess that it's the processor that's the problem, but I didn't see anything when profiling my game that would suggest that there's anything particularly performance intensive when it comes to the processor, so I don't know. Or maybe something with the graphics is being offset onto the processor. It's hard to say without really having a test case. So I might try it out on the laptop, try profiling it there and see if something sticks out, and maybe even on the computer here, if I look more closely, maybe there's something that I can clean up a bit. But yeah, I don't really know how much I can do. I thought I dug into it pretty extensively the first time around. Yeah, I posted a few more TikTok videos today. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. I did want to say that I had a thought about my interactions with other people on social media that I forgot to share yesterday that popped into my head. So, because I've been going back and forth thinking about how to deal with talking to people. And in the video yesterday, I talked about how I've learned that responding to people who are negative is always a waste of time. Even if they're offering critique or feedback, if their overall sentiment of your project is negative, they don't even care about actually helping you out. They're almost always giving you that critique in a way that's framed, that we're really underlying it is that they just fundamentally don't like what you're making. So you can't really trust their opinion. Instead, if you're going to listen, like, the best feedback you can get, and if you're going to listen to it, comes from people who actually like what you're making. I like it, but if only it wasn't for this one thing. So I mentioned that, and I struggled a little bit the past couple of days about not getting involved with people who left negative comments on my videos and not getting into pointless arguments. And I had an experience, I want to say like a good few months ago, that really stuck with me with regards to how I think about interacting with people and commenting on things, and specifically in the context of the position that I'm in now, making videos myself. Which is there's this one podcast that I really like. It's the only podcast I've ever watched, and anyway, a few months ago, they had Destiny on there. And I've mentioned in a previous video on here, I'm not a fan of that guy. I think he's kind of a degenerate, but they had him on. And at the time, a lot of people really didn't like him. He was probably embroiled in some controversy. So the whole comment section for this particular episode was filled with people talking shit about him. And I myself ended up posting a comment about him as well. And how, I don't know, disappointed I was for them to have an episode with him on there. And this is really unusual for me because I'm the kind of person where I practically never engage with anything on social media or any other websites. I very rarely nowadays ever comment on anything or interact with people. And when I posted that comment, I'd been thinking a lot about the nature of the relationship between, and I don't want to sound too pretentious about this, but the nature of the relationship between people who mostly consume things and the people who create the things that most people consume. And when I was thinking about this situation with Destiny, what struck me thinking about it at his level of success is how, well, the situation made me feel like I was kind of a bitch in this situation. And the reason I say that is I'm thinking about how I'm sitting here thinking about this guy, at least for a few minutes, thinking about how he pisses me off. I'm taking the time to write down a comment about how I dislike him. And yet this guy doesn't even know I exist. He's never heard of me. He has 1,000,001 haters, and he's probably used to getting all kinds of hate mail from people. And at the end of the day, whether I like him or not, he's super successful and he lives his own life. And the point is, he doesn't care. And he very well may go his entire life without spending a single moment thinking about me or even knowing that I exist. And that's what made me feel like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here wasting moments of my life caring so much about a guy who has nothing to do with my own life, who I dislike because, I don't know, I just happened to have seen him and I don't know, I didn't like what he had to say or how he acts or whatever. And I, if only for a moment, fixated on that, and then to have spent even minutes on that seems like such a waste of my time, such a waste of life. And this guy doesn't even know I exist and couldn't care less. And so I ended up deleting the comment. I deleted it because I was like, I don't want to be in that position. I kind of actually feel like almost a little bit of a loser right now. And it made me think about also how now from my own position, the more and more I make stuff and the more I have people commenting on my stuff, and especially if it becomes more successful, that's kind of the ideal position to take up, like myself as a creator, to not get involved with that stuff. That it's like not in your position. You're not a person anymore who should be getting involved in arguments in comment sections or ever taking anyone seriously who's trying to talk shit to you or get under your skin or anything like that, because you have to keep it as kind of like being beneath you. You know what I mean? Like you should be too busy being productive and doing your own thing to be even thinking about or considering the mere existence of people who are there only to hate on you and say negative things about you, right? So that popped into my head again today as I was looking at comments and considering responding to them and so on. And so I think I really do want to take up an attitude 100% of, I mean, maybe here and there once in a while, if I can poke, I don't know. I was thinking about like I made a video today, for example, where I was going to poke fun at this one guy because I was getting a certain kind of comment from a few different people who were all telling me that they found me unlikable or something like that. So I had made a short video where I was going to make fun of them, but I was thinking, and I thought it was really funny and I really did want to post it, but I was thinking, I don't want to provoke people. Like when I pissed people off with this first video I made or the couple of videos I made, that wasn't my intention and I wasn't thinking about that. I made those videos because I thought they were funny. I thought it was really obvious that I was just taking kind of a lighthearted jab, and I didn't predict anyone to be upset by these things. I was just being myself. But if I post this video now, where now I'm very intentionally replying to this guy to make fun of him, well, now I'm intentionally trying to piss people off. Now I'm provoking them. And I don't think I want to get involved in that. I'm not interested in, I think I want to be free to be myself. And if some people don't like that or they find me offensive, then I don't care at all, because they've just, what can I say? They don't like me and they've misread my intentions. It's not my problem. But if I get involved in kind of intentionally being a dick or talking down to people, well, now I kind of am a dick, right? And I don't really want to play a part in that. And that's it's not what I'm interested in. And I don't think it's a good thing to do. So I have decided, based on this, thinking back to that example with the podcast and the comments I left, and about what my intentions are behind things, that I need to take up that mentality now of just completely and totally ignoring that stuff. People want to write stuff about not liking me or whatever other negative comments they say. I have to just always learn to let it go. I did a pretty good job of it, honestly. Most of the negative comments I didn't say anything to. I let them go. You even get like filtered comments on TikTok where it holds for review for you because they're potentially offensive, and much of the time they were offensive towards me, and I just kept letting them all through. I didn't care. So I've gotten good about it. Like, it doesn't really get to me. It doesn't bother me. But there were a few spots where I did have a little back and forth with a couple people, and I think moving forward now I'm going to take up this principle to, no matter what, under any circumstance, never, ever, ever waste a second of my time trying to argue with anyone or change anyone's mind or anything like that. If someone says something negative, no matter how they frame it, even if they think they're trying to offer some kind of supposedly useful advice, I'm just going to completely and totally ignore them from now on. And I think it's not my place to get involved with that. I will stick to engaging with people who actually have something not just positive to say, but even just something constructive to say, some kind of interesting conversation to have, something to have with them. Yeah. So one more time, I am going to delay the topic for conversation of my experiences and advice I wanted to give on dating. I think I have some interesting stories there, but it's still super late again, and I want to get to bed. And I promise, this time for real, this time pinky swear, tomorrow the routine will be fixed, and I will cover the topic, and I'll get back to work. Let's see what happens next.